What's going on, guys? Teen Mechanic here. I know you haven't heard from me in a while, but I've got an opportunity now to film several really interesting things that I wouldn't really otherwise get the chance to see, because you just don't see things like this in the world anymore. I mean, this is far from a unicorn, but it's definitely a unicorn configuration, if you want to call that, if you're speaking on in terms of rarity, because this thing's got a couple of very interesting things that I actually haven't seen. Number one, it's a Capri, which is obviously the sister to the Mustang, and I mean, I know that the Ford kind of went to the Foxbody in '79, just in time for the '80s, and that's when everything started to become very strange. I think these are much better looking than the Mustang, personally. This one's an 81. They came out in 79, although 81's an interesting year. I don't know what options were available in what years. I don't know a ton about Foxbodies. I've stuck with gigantic things from the 70s, so when it gets to things like this, I've kind of, I've got a lot less knowledge. But you can see this is a Capri GS, which I'm told is apparently a relatively midline trim, or maybe the midline trim. I don't know even how many there were. And apparently I'm also told that this would have been a Ghia, which I guess that would be, and this is the first time I've ever heard of that, unless you're speaking about a Carmen Ghia. And apparently that's like a sub-trim level, is the best way that I can understand it, and it would have had a badge if it had that. And what's indicative of the Ghia is the fact that the steering wheel is much more upscale, things like that. I mean, I'm sure there are many other things, but maybe not even. But the steering wheel is apparently one of the biggest indicators. And I don't know, it's a rare configuration, and one of the things that was one of the first things that was pointed out to me is this wiper. I guess it didn't really catch my eye. Obviously, I don't own this car, so it didn't really catch my eye at when I first saw it. But because I feel like I've seen it before. I've seen hatchback with a wiper before, but it's such a weird and rare option to have. But the big thing for me. Well, also another thing, this reminds me of my LTD in a lot of ways, with where the horn is and lots of different things like that. But one of the most interesting things about this car is what is under the hood. Is it a 302? No, it's not a 302. It is a 200 inline six, which there's an interesting story that I'm gonna bring to you guys pretty soon here in just a moment. But this here is such a strange configuration because the hang on a sec, I gotta put this hood up. Oh my god, there we go. That hurts my head. Yeah, so the 200 was very, very, was just an uncommon option in general for Foxbodies. A lot of people didn't even know that the 200 came in the Foxbodies. I was one of those people until I met my friend Katerina, who's got a 200 in her notchback Mustang, and that's the first time I've ever even seen that, because I even think it sounds like one, but that is a tractor motor. I mean, I found out today that it actually is something that's commonly used in machinery, farm equipment, etc. But it sounds like one too. If you want to fire it up, let's see how this sounds. Listen to this. Tell me that doesn't sound like a frickin' John Deere. I don't know what I'm talking about, but a tractor. It sounds like a tractor. But wow. You can see it actually doesn't run so bad. It's not idling right now, actually. You got to keep the gas in because, unfortunately, it needs to be dialed in a little better than it is. But it runs well, and it's once the idle's fixed, it'll run pretty darn well. It's just such a straight bulletproof motor, as far as I'm concerned. It's just so simple. One of those things is just easy to understand. So anyway, but like I said, uncommon, and people get rid of these as fast as they can, which is, in my opinion, I don't want to call it a shame, because it's a dead reliable motor, but it doesn't make a lot of power. It's kind of, 50-50 on it. But if you're just driving it and you don't care about power and you just want to drive something weird, like my Matador, which did not make any power, maybe 99 at the crank with that 360 when it had that exhaust on it. So honestly, something like that's just weird to stand out. There would be no value in getting rid of that. But while we're on the topic of the 200 i6, I want to show you something. I still have the same truck, but in the bed of this truck is a 200 inline six. Now, this is going in that car. No, I'm just kidding. I wish it was. But Actually, well, I don't own that car, so I guess I don't necessarily wish it was. I do own this motor, and I would love to hear from you guys. What do you think I should do with it? Should I put it in my truck, or should I get something else and create another project? In order for me to do that, I'd probably have to get rid of some stuff, but even then, this is a 65 motor, and I learned this today. You see this code on the side of the block. The C is as the decade of the 60s. That's when you'd see the C, and D would be 70s, etc. E is 80s, and F is 90s. And then you see the 5. That's a 65. So I learned that today. I didn't know how Ford did their block stamps. Anyway, it's very interesting to see. Obviously, it's had some work done. Clearly, it's been powder coated and things like that, which is pretty cool. And you'll notice it's got a flywheel, a clutch, pressure plate, and a clutch attached to it. So, and I also have access to the bell housing for this thing. Guess how much I got this for? I got this $500, $400, $300, $0. I got this for free because one of the instructors at my school in the shop had a motor donated to them, and that guy had a second one that he had that was running and in perfect condition. And he said, "Hey, do you want this?" I said, "Of course." And I drove up to Red Deer, which is north of Calgary, to pick it up. And now I've got a 200 inline 6. How valuable that is, I don't know. We're going to find out what I do with it. But it's just cool. So yeah, I don't know. That could be potentially a new project. But yeah, so I just wanted to show that to you. That is a pretty damn cool little thing I got for free. And there are a couple other things out here that I'd like to film, so don't go anywhere. But while we were on the topic of the 200, I figured I'd just let you guys know that I picked one up for myself. So I don't know. Obviously, this car's not for sale. I would like to buy the Capri. I've already asked about that. I can't buy it, but I'd like to. So anyway, I just wanted to show it to you because it's just strange. You don't see a Capri super often. But anyway, if you enjoyed the video, give it a like. If you didn't, give it a dislike. But let me know in the comments what you want to see, and especially with that 200 i6. But other than that, thanks again for watching. I'll see you very soon. I want to hear those comments. And yeah, stay tuned because I'm hoping there's some interesting things coming. So yeah, I'll see you very soon in the next video. Bye-bye.